Have you ever wondered what could have led the world into such a cataclysmic event as the Second World War? It's a question that sparked countless debates and theories. Many fingers point towards the Treaty of Versailles, that infamous peace agreement inked in the aftermath of the First World War. Harsh penalties imposed on Germany sowed seeds of resentment and discontent. Then came the Great Depression of the late 20s and early 30s, a global economic crisis that left millions jobless and impoverished. This economic turmoil was fertile ground for the rise of totalitarian regimes. In Germany, Italy and Japan, charismatic leaders seized the opportunity, promising stability and strength in the face of chaos. The global political climate was a tinderbox filled with volatile elements ready to ignite. Nationalistic fervour, economic hardship, and political extremism combined to create a precarious balance of power. And so, with the world in such a precarious state, the stage was set for a conflict unlike any seen before. The fuse was lit on September 1st, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. The world was thrown into chaos as the German forces, led by Adolf Hitler, blitzkrieged their way through the Polish defences, crushing them in less than a month. This unprovoked aggression was the final straw for Britain and France, who had been observing the rising tensions with growing concern. They declared war on Germany, marking the start of the World War II. Meanwhile, the Axis powers, which included Germany, Italy and Japan, were expanding rapidly. They experienced early successes, such as Germany's domination of Western Europe and Japan's control over the Pacific. These victories were largely due to their military innovations and strategies that took their adversaries by surprise. Yet as the Axis powers revelled in their early victories, the world watched in horror. Countries were falling like dominoes, and it seemed as though nothing could stop the advancing Axis. The world watched in horror as the Axis powers seemed unstoppable, but the tide was soon to turn. The turning point arrived with the attack on Pearl Harbor and the entrance of the United States into the war. An unexpected blow by the Japanese on a quiet Sunday morning in December 1941 forced America's hand. Pearl Harbor, a naval base in Hawaii, faced an onslaught that left much of the Pacific Fleet in ruins. The United States, previously determined to stay out of the conflict, declared war on Japan the following day. This declaration not only marked the entry of a new global power into the war, but it also set in motion a series of events that would ultimately shift the balance. The Battle of Midway, Stalingrad and El Alamein are but a few of the pivotal encounters that began to turn the tide in favour of the Allies. These battles marked the beginning of a long, hard road to victory. With the entry of the United States and the Soviet Union's resilience, the Axis powers began to falter. The final days of World War II were as dramatic as the events that led to its outbreak. In June of 1944, D-Day marked a turning point as Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy, France. It was a brutal but necessary push that paved the way into Germany itself. The march towards the heart of the Third Reich was fraught with countless battles as the Allies fought tooth and nail across the European continent. By May of 1945, Berlin, the bastion of Nazi power, finally fell. Germany's unconditional surrender marked the end of the war in Europe. However, across the Pacific, the war raged on. In a bid to force Japan's surrender, 2 atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August of that same year. The sheer devastation of these new weapons brought a swift end to the fighting. And so, after 6 long bloody years, the Second World War came to an end. The end of World War II marked the beginning of a new era. An era that emerged from the ashes of conflict and aimed to ensure that such devastation would never occur again. The formation of the United Nations was a testament to this collective resolve. Nations came together, vowing to maintain international peace and security and to foster friendly relations among nations. Yet, as peace was sought on one hand, the seeds of a new rivalry were being sown on the other. The Cold War, a silent war of ideologies and influence, began to take shape between 2 superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. This was a war not fought on battlefields, but in the minds and hearts of people. The lasting impacts of World War II are still felt today. The war reshaped our world, from borders to economies, from technologies to ideologies. World War II, a war that changed the world forever, serves as a grim reminder of the devastating power of conflict and the human capacity for resilience. Until next time, subscribe.